We are continuing now with our Meet the Candidate series for the 1st District Congressional race. That primary is now, believe it or not, just 3 weeks away. And our guest today is Stephanie Beauty, senior IT professional, candidate for Congress, and mom.
Yes.
Welcome to Channel 6.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
How do you manage all that?
Oh my goodness. I guess I've been juggling it for quite some time that it feels a little bit natural. I feel like I have about 8 different tentacles going on at different times, and so multitasking, juggling, and making sure that everything is as efficient as it can be is really important to me.
I bet it has to be. You have to make the most of your time.
Absolutely. Make sure that it's valuable, right? Every moment.
So for those of you who don't know, Stephanie ran last year for Secretary of State. She's running again for this congressional primary. I'm curious, Stephanie, what did you learn from that race last year, good and bad, that you said, you know what, that was a good idea, I'll do that again, or I learned from that and say I shouldn't do that this time?
One of the great things that I learned about it is, one, I don't need a lot of money to be able to pull off what we did. And so we had $4,000 and was able to get about over 36,000 votes, more than other candidates that were running and had raised
a lot of value for $4,000.
Exactly. So value, efficiency, and really having a message that means a lot to voters. And what resonated the most was voters were really tired of the same old politicians, and they really wanted a breath of fresh air, and they wanted someone new. And so that didn't change from my run. In fact, it just confirmed and reinforced that commitment to run for them.
So tell me, if you can, how did you maximize the $4,000? So clearly it wasn't a money thing. It was you, old school politics, shaking hands and knocking on doors, I would guess.
Yes, talking to people, meeting them where they are, and really having a conversation that means the most. And so having a high quality conversation, not really talking from political innuendos or kind of gaslighting folks. And I think that having a natural conversation and meeting them where they're at, and not making false promises. So I really believe in my word and holding true to that, and that meant a lot to voters, and they saw that.
Help me understand how you got to this point in your life where you decided all of a sudden, you know what, I'm going to get in politics, but I'm not just going to get into politics. I'm going to go head first into politics. You run for Secretary of State. Now you're running for Congress. How does all that happen? Where were you politically prior to this, and why all of a sudden did that change for you?
Well, I would say politically, middle school, I was school class president. I guess that was my most political experience.
There before, yeah. So you have politics on your resume.
I guess, yeah, at Gilbert Stewart Middle School. But honestly, I really enjoy fixing things, and I find a sense of pleasure in being able to find complex problems and coming up with real life solutions and working with a minimal budget. I've done it at GE many times where we have a planned scope in mind, and that changes, and that we need to readjust and reshift because the economy has shifted, and so we need to shift gears. And so being able to pivot and shift and work with modest means in order to deliver the maximum amount of value. And that's what I think of for Rhode Islanders. It's how do we make sure with our resources that Rhode Islanders actually feel that the government is working for them. They haven't. It hasn't worked for me, to be quite honest. And it's really, really hard as a mom, especially as someone who's, worked really, really hard, and seeing that all it takes is a medical emergency. Housing is on the rise. Education is a crisis, and we've failed time and time again. And so giving the best of the best is what I do.
Well, that kind of leads me into my final question. With the time we have left, Stephanie, what do you want voters, potential voters, to know about you and the issues that you would fight for if you went to Congress?
Great question. I think when it comes to a lot of the issues facing Rhode Islanders, about 90% of the candidates and I are aligned on those issues when we talk about climate, when we talk about housing, when we talk about education. But a big priority for me is Social Security and Medicaid. And then another big issue is the issue of machine learning and AI and cyber risk, and how that really impacts our communities here in Rhode Island and from a national security perspective. And if you look at our congressional makeup, we don't have anyone that has a technical background. And so that is the value that I add, that I provide. I'm really good at learning on my feet. I'm really robust, and I'm really efficient in the way that I intend to deliver for Rhode Islanders. And so sending me to Congress, I truly, truly believe it is the difference that will make the means for our generation in this lifetime.
Stephanie Beauty, thank you so much for coming in and joining us. Really appreciate your time.
Wonderful, wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Good luck in the campaign.
Thank you so much.